Calzaghe, but there is a new Wales sensation, and he's going into action first here tonight. It's Gary Lockett, a pro for 5 years and more, but tonight in front of his home public for the first time. Exciting light middleweight. Glenn McCrory and Ian Dark for commentary after Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, live and exclusive on Sky Sports, we are ready to start the action. Prepare to welcome the boxers as they make their way to the ring for this, the WBO Intercontinental Championship bout. First, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the challenger from Belarus, introducing Yuri Tsarenko.
Well, good evening to you. It's a crackling atmosphere building up here tonight for this big Calzaghe Brewer fight, and a useful fight here on the undercard. This is Yuri Tsarenko. He might be from Belarus, but he qualifies to fight for the Russian Championship, and he's actually won that. He's fought now with tonight's fight 3 times in a month. Ring rust is not going to be a problem. He's won 4 in a row, and I wonder if he might be a threat here to the big punching and exciting Gary Lockett.
Well, he could be. Lockett is a big puncher, but to be a big puncher, you've got to be close to your opponent. That means you get tagged yourself. So he could be in range. This guy can punch a little bit. Of his 12 wins, he's won 9 of them inside schedule, so he could be dangerous.
Seems to be an improver, Yuri Tsarenko. He's only 22, so he's 3 years younger than Gary Lockett.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the ring, here comes the defending champion from Cwmbran, Wales, Gary Lockett.
Big support here tonight for Gary Lockett, who surprisingly, although he's from Cwmbran, is making his very first appearance in Wales tonight, and it's his 17th pro fight. This young fellow is building a big reputation, and quickly he's got a punch called the Lockett Rocket. It's his left hook, but he says his right hand is even better.
He's capturing the public's imagination, which always happens with a puncher. You know, people like him already. You see the crowd. You know, it's very early in his career, yet he's got people. He's caught their imagination, and that's because he carries the big punch. You know, he really has the equalizer, and that's what people want to see.
There you can see it, Rocket Man, written on the back of the dressing gown. Articulate, intelligent, bit of a throwback type. Old-fashioned style boxer is Gary Lockett, who does his training up in Liverpool. Long drive for him every week to train with Colin Moorcroft. Tail of the tape looking like this for this one. Lockett 3 years older, as I was mentioning, at 25. He'll have a significant height and reach advantage. They were both bang on the 11-stone limit, but Lockett had to strip naked to make light middleweight. I wonder if he'll have to move it up quite soon. Lockett made his pro debut in '96. Tsarenko has been a pro for 3 years. Tsarenko with a few more fights. He's been keeping very, very busy. Books a lot more rounds, but that's because Lockett knocks everybody out quickly. So we have Jimmy Lennon Jr., the famed American MC, with us tonight. This bill going out in the States.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the International Arena here in Cardiff, Wales, as we have a big night of action coming away, and it's all brought to you by Frank Warren Sports Network in association with Showtime and Red Square. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization. The supervisor at ringside is Charles Giles, along with the British Boxing Board of Control. The steward in charge is Brian Remy. Introducing to you our physicians at ringside, Dr. Ray Monsell, Dr. Jim Naismith, and Mr. Peter Fitzgerald, and our timekeeper at the bell, Neil Berder. Introducing our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside, we have from Rouen, France, Robin Dolpierre. From Pontypool, Wales, Ronnie Evans. And from London, England, Roy Francis. And And our third man to the ring is from Wolverhampton, England, introducing John Coyle. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Intercontinental Junior Middleweight Championship. Introducing to you first the challenger. On my left, he is fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with white and red trim, hailing from Minsk, Belarus. He weighed in at 11 stone even, or 154 US pounds. His record stands at 12 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw, with 9 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the Russian light middleweight champion tonight, challenging for the Intercontinental title, introducing Yuri Tsarenko. And his opponent across the ring, ladies and gentlemen, is the defending champion. On my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing silver trunks with blue trim, hailing and representing Cumbran, Wales. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 11 stone even, or 154 US pounds, undefeated in his campaign in the ring, with 16 wins, no losses, 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the undefeated WBO Intercontinental Junior Middleweight Champion, Gary the Rocket Lockett. Once again, a referee in charge, John Coyle, now to give instructions. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled.
Gary, come on. Look, I've spoken to you both in the dressing room. Obey the rules, obey my instructions, and let's see good sportsmanship, okay? Good luck.
So Lockett, with huge support here, he tells me he's sold 500 tickets by himself for tonight. That doesn't include all those who went to the box office and bought their own to watch him in action. He's building a pretty big reputation, tucked in behind a whole series of very good British light middleweights. He's won 11 times inside 2 rounds. That's 11 times in 16 fights. Tsarenko, the 22-year-old Russian champion, in the black and white trunks here. Lockett had his most significant win last time against former world title challenger Kevin Kelly, when he was outboxed for a little of the way, but found a huge right hand to finish the job. He hits very, very hard, but this Tsarenko's never been stopped, Glenn.
Well, I think that's the interesting thing. He's a decent opponent. He's credible, improving, but he's got a good chin, never been stopped. So we'll really get a chance to see how good the power of Lockett is. If it's that bit extra special, maybe he can get rid of this guy.
Lockett defending one of the junior belts here, one of those intercontinental belts, which is just a stepping stone title really on the way to bigger things. Good right hand from Lockett. The power is obviously natural. He apparently knocked out his uncle by accident when he was 9 years old. Well,
Tsarenko looks useful. He's already managed to catch Lockett with a couple of shots. His nice right hand went in. He's a cagey type who knows his boxing.
Lockett was telling me last night he doesn't mind if he just has to go a few rounds here. He hasn't often had to do that because of the way that he's been blasting opponents out of there. There's a right hand through the middle. Tsarenko took it without blinking almost.
You can tell by the style of Lockett that he's a puncher. He really sets his feet. They're very firmly planted, good base. But to be a puncher, you're normally in distance, and that means you can get caught yourself.
Tried a big left hook, which whistled past the chin of Tsarenko. There's no doubt about it, this Gary Lockett has the capability to become a star. Whether he does, we'll find out over the next year or so. Lovely right hand picked over the top by the Welsh fighter who's enjoying the experience, I'm sure, of boxing before a big Welsh crowd for the first time. That's a great left hook, and that did hurt Tsarenko. That buckled his knees. The rocket lands for the first time. And it certainly budged Tsarenko off the launch pad.
Stop boxing! That's a good way, Joe.
It was a threatening shot.
It was a good shot. Set his feet, really let it go, and Tsarenko felt the power in that. He really loads up with the punches. There it is, the left hook. It's caught him on the top. They didn't get it properly. We would like it to get near the chin, obviously.
Jab and stay locked up.
Already starting to get the shots on.
And you can always come with that left hook. You tried the body
Colin
shots.
Moorcroft doing the talking in the corner. Look, it's got an interesting story. His progress was halted by the common house dust mite. He had an allergic reaction to the creatures in his bed mattress. He now has to have special sheets on the bed at home to make sure that doesn't happen again. Second round, and Lockett has won 8 times in this round. This is his favourite round for the knockout or stoppage. Tsarenko reached disadvantage for it. Obviously a tough little man. There are plenty of them coming out of Eastern Europe at the moment, and we're seeing plenty of them over here, and a few of them are giving a pretty good account of themselves.
Well, he's trying to load up for that right hand, throwing the double jab, just trying to get that punch on. He does hit hard with both hands, Gary Lockett.
But it would be an upset if he was beaten here, because after all, Tsarenko, for all his good recent form, does have 6 defeats on his record. He didn't ought to be making mistakes at this kind of level, Lockett, if he's going places.
I think really, in a fight like this, it's a tougher test for him, but you want to see how he can win here. And obviously the stoppage would be the story if he can get that.
A little bit of blood by the side of the nose of Lockett. Just being made to miss. He's still learning his trade, he admits that. I think last time out, Kevin Kelly, it showed that there were a few things still to work on for him. And he does realise that the power won't always do the job.
No, and sometimes he's a bit stiff and maybe need to loosen up a bit. Tsarenko getting him with the occasional jab.
Well, that's the trouble, isn't it, for punchers? They can believe that they're always going to knock out the man in front of them. We saw that with Hamed and Herrera, really. And of course he couldn't and got outpointed.
Yeah, that's the thing. The really good fighters, they have a plan B, and if it's not working with the punching, they can then box their opponent, and that's the mark of a good fighter.
Tsarenko looking competent and resilient.
Well, he's a little careful. He keeps putting that jab out, which is just upsetting the rhythm of Lockett and not letting him get set for his own shot.
Oh, right hand, good shot from Tsarenko. Landed flush on the nose by the look of it, and there's already a bit of blood around on that case of Lockett. He was cut last time, remember?
Oh, Tsarenko's done quite well in this round. Lockett hasn't really been allowed to get his shots off.
He's out of range with a jab. Welcome back to the Cardiff International Arena. Now in that second round, this Yuri Tsarenko gave big punching Gary Lockett some problems like that.
Yeah, that was a very good right hand. And look at the blood around the nose of Lockett. So Tsarenko is starting to get through, and Lockett being made to think.
Don't rush the job. Tight.
Third round. Lockett from Coombe Brown in those grey and blue trunks. Of course, with this growing reputation comes a little bit of pressure to perform as well. It suits some fighters, not others. Blocking plenty of shots with his arms and gloves, Lockett.
But you just get the feel Tsarenko is growing in confidence. He's fancying the job more and more.
Tsarenko comes from Belarus. I mentioned he won the Russian title. It's peculiar rules they have over there. He actually beat a guy from Azerbaijan, I think, to win the title. So I think if you come from somewhere near Russia, you can win it.
That is a strange rule.
Just looking a bit tight at the moment, Lockett.
Yeah, this is a big occasion for him, and he hasn't had that many fights. Brilliant experienced, so you can imagine, that being the case.
Left hand close in. It's a good shot from Lockett.
Well, he's picked it up again a bit in this round, Lockett. Now he's starting to push Tsarenko back.
Good uppercut as well. This is better. The left hook there drove Tsarenko back a couple of yards against the ropes, setting his feet even more for some of these shots.
Right, step back. When you're told, step back. Right.
50 seconds of the third round. No knockout yet for the Rocket Man. Isn't there a line in the song where it says, I think it's going to take a long, long time? It doesn't usually.
Well, he's just getting a bit more thoughtful in this round, Tsarenko. I think he's been caught with a couple of decent ones.
He's a heavy-looking shot, and he's starting to look a bit the worse for wear, Tsarenko. Look at Lockett barging him across the ring, using that strength. Just trying to drive a bit of that fighting spirit out of Tsarenko.
Well, that's what makes him exciting. Like Ricky Hatton, he's a fighter that wants to get his opponent out of there.
Some heavy shots from Lockett in this round.
Live NBA basketball for you on Sunday night. It's the LA Lakers against Portland, their first round playoff match, and it's live 10:30 on Sky Sports Extra on Sunday evening. Here in Cardiff, Gary Lockett into almost uncharted territory. Glenn Innie.
Come on, go.
Yes, he's not going to be on 6, and we're coming up to the 4th here. He's been working on his right eye in the corner, just precautionary stuff with the ends, well, as the trainers call it. Lockett, the young Welshman, in the silver and blue trunks, I understand he's calling them tonight. Tsarenko's 3rd fight in a month. He's got a good win over Andrei Pestraev, who was a former European champion and world title challenger. And look at this, good body shots here from Tsarenko.
Well, this is what we want to see. We want to see somebody back Lockett up, see what he's got.
Well, I think Lockett there was just trying to play possum with him, wasn't he? Trying to invite him in for a counter. The two of them give each other just a little smile. They both know the game they're playing. Bit of chess going on.
Yes, they're both calling each other in. There's a bit of respect there.
There's no doubt about it. Gary Lockett was trying to sucker Tsarenko onto one of his big right-hand punches. Doing the same thing again here, just laying against those ropes, wanting Tsarenko to come to him. shots again.
Yeah, it looks good when he unloads that. Pretty cute, Tsarenko just managed to move his head out of the way of those punches.
And he grins at Lockett as well. Lockett does not grin back. I just wonder how much of a struggle it is for Gary Lockett to make 11 stone, because he was stripped naked on the scales, and he does have a bit of a weakness, he admits, for Chinese meals and curries. Well, don't we all? But then we'd have to get on the scales for championship fights, but Glenn used to.
I've had any problems on the scales. Decent left hook to the body from Tsarenko.
Stop boxing! Okay, sort it out. Box.
Now Lockett might be taken into his longest fight here. Let's see. Tough little man who doesn't want to give ground, bags of pride, and at the moment absorbing everything Lockett can hit him with. Welcome back to Cardiff. If you're waiting for that Joe Calzaghe fight, don't worry, you haven't missed it. That comes up later. Big one it is too, against Charles Brewer. These are the computer printouts so far on this one. Lockett landing 54 to Tsarenko's 42. The Russian champion's doing okay. He's even got a better success rate.
Yeah, he's not wasting it as much. And he's right in there. It's a pretty close contest.
Here's the 5th round. I'm sure the fans, and there are many of them who've come here tonight to watch Gary Lockett, just waiting for him to do his party piece, which is the knockout punch, usually with the left hook, although a right hand did it last time out for him. And that was just after the Kelly corner had told their man, don't worry, he hasn't got a right hand, this fella. Oh, there's the left hook again from Lockett. Again, Tsarenko stands his ground. You can see why he's never been stopped yet, can't you?
Well, he looks quite good when he's on the front foot, Tsarenko, when he's coming forward.
Travelled a long way with that left hook. He didn't quite find his target. Just missing a lot. Gary Lockett, just at times a bit over-eager, not quite picking the punches to perfection.
And that's where Tsarenko is quite good. He's making a miss with the big punches. That's wasting a bit of energy for Lockett.
It's almost as if Lockett's trying to give the fans what they want. One of those big, explosive humdingers.
Well, that is what he does, really. You know, that's what he looks for. That's his style. But in the meantime, he's getting caught with a few, and his face is starting to mark up a bit.
Just to be careful with that nose damage as well, because he does have a history of breathing problems linked to that allergy I was telling you about. Pretty hard work for Lockett. You just wonder if at some point these heavy shots will make Tsarenko suddenly wilt.
Well, he does look a quite durable guy, Tsarenko. Quite tricky in there.
It's a significant enough test for Lockett at this stage of his development. Still quite upright, gloves just dropping down a bit, Lockett. Breathing quite heavily as well at times. Now let's have a look at this British scene and see where Lockett fits into things at the moment. It's bursting with talent. Steve Roberts, Wayne Alexander, Richard Williams, Takalu. Though I do wish now these people were either fought each other or moved up to fight at a significant world level, because really they haven't done that yet. Steve Roberts beat Keith Mullings, but he was all washed up by then. Wayne Alexander did fight Harry Simon and did okay. Lasted 5 rounds as a late substitute. But something's got to give there. Lockett's in at 5 at the moment.
Well, it really doesn't. We do go on about it, but I can't see why those guys aren't getting together. That really is, it's wrong. We need to find out who's the best in that division.
And we're getting bored saying it as well.
Well, just not getting the shots off. He's not getting them. They're not landing right. Tsarenko is pretty good, pretty adept at just riding the shot, dipping to the side, and just allowing Lockett to lead, to not miss with his best shots.
6th round. It's only the 2nd time that Lockett has had to box this far. The other one was against Mike Algoet in Barnsley, and that was last year. Good body shot from Tsarenko. He's proving a tougher test than Kevin Kelly, who looked a significant step up for Lockett last time. Wouldn't really do Gary Lockett any harm to have to go the full 12, would it?
No, it wouldn't. It's all experience, and he's had a few good wins and quick wins. And one of the problems that happens with punchers is they kind of get the idea that every time they hit somebody they're going to fall over. So now and again to somebody to stand up to them and go the distance is a good thing.
Against that, you're bound to get a few of the critics saying, oh, he's making heavy weather of it, he's not as good as we thought.
Well, in this match, Tsarenko was obviously matched because he'd never been stopped, so they didn't want to test Lockett a little bit.
Well, it's good preparation for later tests in his career, because when he does get in at a significant championship level down the road, he will find the fighters are durable.
Well, I think this is more the case that Lockett just isn't getting his shots on. Tsarenko is good at avoiding them, good at coming back, breaking up the momentum of Lockett.
It's not even a formality, this, for Lockett at the moment, because Tsarenko still looks quite strong. But Lockett, remember, is possessed of that dynamite that might just end the argument in a split second.
Right! No shots! No shots! Come out!
It's getting to be quite a grueling battle, this one, for them.
It is, it's getting hard. A few good shots off there for Lockett. But he comes straight back, Tsarenko.
Looks like there might be some blood in the mouth of Lockett as well now.
Well, that could be hampering the breathing, making things harder for him. If that nose is giving him problems.
You want, you hear me? He goes, he doesn't, just keep it smart. Outbox him, outsmart him. You don't have to get in slugfest, you're better than that, aren't you? Hey, nice and smart.
Colin Moorcroft, you don't have to get in slugfest, do you? Outsmart him. Has he heard that before?
Off that jab and it all comes, gal. Stand up.
Hand to the body.
Come on,
Very
gal.
interesting to hear it there. He did. Also, he did seem to be struggling a little bit with his breathing, Lockett.
This is now the longest fight of Gary Lockett's professional career. New territory, round 7. Maybe there are valuable lessons being absorbed in there by Lockett. He's an eminently sensible young fellow, doesn't have ideas above his station. He's going to lead with the right hand from a moment. Interesting.
Well, he's trying something different. He's trying to change the style. I think he realises that he's not getting the shots on in the orthodox stance, so he's just trying to maybe make Tsarenko do something else and find a shot from another angle.
Switch back again now to go orthodox, his normal stance. Sometimes fighters can confuse themselves by switch hitting, particularly if it's not something they usually try. Looking to counter, isn't he, more?
Yeah, he's running out of ideas a bit on the attack, so he's seeing what Tsarenko brings and then seeing what he can do in a counter.
Trying to box more, Lockett here. This is not his usual game at all. But I think he's going to reach the top. He will have to have the boxing skills to go with the ability to blast men out of there. It's nicely done with a jab. Lockett must be starting to think, who is this fellow in front of me? I keep hitting him with these good shots and they're all bouncing off him.
Well, that's when you start to lose a bit of your belief. I think there's a bit of play acting there from Tsarenko.
Yeah, he's trying to invite Lockett in, and that's a good shot from the Russian champion, who definitely is growing in confidence. And I think there's a little psychological edge for him at the moment, because he's the one who's taken Lockett's best shots and is still looking pretty competitive.
And maybe just a few signs for concern in Lockett's corner. He's not having it his own way at all. This is getting pretty tough.
He's got a bit of damage under the right eye now, Lockett. Oh, terrific combination though. At a moment when he just needed it, you felt. But once again, hardly registered on the Richter scale with Tsarenko. You wonder what some of these guys are made of, don't you?
Well, he's tough, that's for sure.
Okay, big fight still to come tonight. Joe Calzaghe, most significant test yet against Charles Brewer, 10th defence. Judge in the dressing room there with Ed Robinson.
Well, Joe, 10th defence of the title. Do you think it's your toughest yet?
We'll have to wait and see. Confident, 100% confident. Gonna do your job, feel powerful. Basically can't wait to get in there.
You're both good punchers. Will it come down to who's got the best chin?
Basically, I'm the best fighter. Best in the world, and they'll prove it. KO.
A chance to make a statement to the Americans who are watching?
Definitely, just to prove that I'm number one super middleweight in the world. He says they don't know me in America, but they believe me after this fight they will.
And what will your tactics be?
Basically, do my own thing, and then go in there, be aggressive, and basically speed and power will prevail.
Good luck tonight, Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fascinating insight. You can just feel the edge in that dressing room that he's building up, can't you?
Yeah, you can feel there's a few nerves in there.
As indeed there should be.
Come on, nice and sharp.
8th round.
There you go.
They want the fighter to be flat. Back to this one for the moment. Gary Lockett in the silver and blue. Remember, hasn't given his home fans the knockout they were probably expecting, but they probably didn't know too much about Tsarenko's record of durability and competence. Swollen up around the eyes, Lockett now, isn't he?
He isn't getting hit quite a bit, and I don't know about you, Ian, but I have this fight level. I've got Tsarenko just coming back in over the last 2 rounds, and now have the fight level, 67-all.
It is close, there's no doubt about that.
There you go, that's nice.
It's just totting up mine. Yep, mine says level 2. There is a sense of Lockett just getting a little frustrated and looking for new storylines for himself in this fight.
Well, he found the punches to pull himself out of a bit of trouble in the last one. He might have to find them again.
Of course, here we're wondering too about the stamina, aren't we? We don't know about whether he's got the stamina to do 12.
Well, I think after this one we're going to have a few more questions answered with the Lockett story.
Well, what I can tell you is he's a fanatical trainer. He's in love with the gym, and that will serve him well in this kind of situation. Hard to believe Tsarenko's only 22. He looks about 10 years older, doesn't he? He has real man strength about him.
Yes, he has, and you can see how he's an improving fighter. He's obviously learning in the business of boxing, and as the fights are going on in his career, he's getting better and better.
Another little worrying sign for Lockett is the way he's marking up. He cut in his last fight too.
Yep, that may well be a problem. He started marking up from very early on. Our right eye giving him some trouble, and getting more and more closed all the time.
He will learn from the experience if he can come through this with a win on his record. I think he's going to be a better fighter for it, but there's work to do to get that win from where he is at the moment.
Well, most fighters and champions have some tough ones on the way through, and then they learn from them, and this is turned out to be a tough one for Lockett's career.
What do you make of the switch hitting he's trying?
Well, he's trying different things, but you wonder whether that's a little bit of something to concern yourself with.
You're nicking around there without taking a good nice body shot, and then
That was good boxing, son. That was good boxing.
Well, he was trying to box there. Denny Mancini's trying to give him a lift in the corner. Denny's pretty good, isn't he? They're saying the right thing at the right time to a fighter. I remember Nigel Benn telling us that.
Yep. Denny's one of the corner men with a great experience who just says the right thing. Don't say a lot. That's too much for a fighter to take in, but he just says a key thing in a round.
Clever little punch from Tsarenko there, but I think Lockett just won the round. He did on my card anyway.
Well, he's landed more punches Lockett, but again, the success rate is from Tsarenko. He's the best success rate. He's not wasting as much as Lockett. Tsarenko is pretty good at making Lockett miss.
Three judges, of course, to score it. Best sense we can give you is that both Glenn and I have Lockett in a lead, but only a narrow one. It's up for grabs, really, over these last 4 rounds. And following that, the big fight, Joe Calzaghe, Charles Brewer. Oh, terrific right counter from Lockett. Did that well, picked it beautifully.
But again, not much of an impact on this very tough guy from Belarus.
He has knocked out some tough men before, like Hussein Osman, the London-based Syrian who gave Richard Williams so much trouble. He took Howard Clark out in a couple of rounds. Andrew Clark fading by that time. It's by far the toughest test, this, of Lockett's career.
Well, this has been a better round for Tsarenko, still trying to put the pressure on Lockett.
But if you look at the record of all fighters coming through, even the top ones, they've had difficult nights along the way.
Ian, it can never be easy plain sailing all the way through. This is a tough game, there's some tough guys in it. So you're going to have these nights, but these nights are to learn, to get, to move to the next level, to bring something from that, to learn by it. So that's what he's got to do, but first he's got to win.
Badly marked up around the eyes now. Lockett, they're closing up a bit on him. Yeah, I remember Nigel Benn against that guy Logan early on in his career, nearly getting knocked out and then suddenly producing that incredible knockout punch to rescue it and turn it all around.
Well, that is the mark of a good fighter.
He's gone to sleep a little bit here and there. Lockett is a good right hand, and I fancied that just stung the man from Belarus, remember, because he stood off. And I think Lockett might have just gone in there and thrown a few more, but he didn't.
Well, he needed to find something in this round because it was Tsarenko who was doing more of the work and growing in confidence.
And Tsarenko is totally unmarked. That's just really the luck of the draw, isn't it, about your skin. Some people mark up and cut, and some people have skin like leather. Now Lockett is trying to box his way to victory here. I think he's given up hopes of the knockout, but is he doing that? Is he boxing his way to victory?
Well, I don't think he's doing it with any sort of authority. I mean, for me, I just nicked Tsarenko in that round. I just thought he did a little bit more than Lockett. Lockett, 2 of the cleaner punches in the round, but it was Tsarenko who was just busier.
I disagree with you on that. I go Lockett myself there. Quality of punch, but there you go.
Well,
It's boring if we always agree. What do you mean it is boring?
You've got to bring the jab, snap you and don't leave it out. Eat it now. Eat that jab, Jamie, not yet.
He's finding it hard, isn't he? This is new territory in every respect, I think, for Gary Lockett.
Well, this is a test of character. Colin Moorcroft trying to cheer him up and lift his spirits as his head starting to drop a little bit in that corner.
10th round. This is 4 rounds, remember, than Lockett has ever had to go before. There's a good right hand from Tsarenko. Lockett took it well.
And a good body shot after that. So I think Tsarenko is feeling maybe the strength of Lockett just starting to grow a bit. Maybe he is starting to tire.
This is a massive test for Lockett. The first real one that he's run into in this is 17th pro fight. I think we all thought that this guy would just take Lockett a few rounds, but I don't think we thought it would become this close to shave, did we?
I don't think we did, Ian. He took a jab in the face and rubbed his eye. So I think that right now troubling him more and more.
Certainly have to give him a little bit of a break after this, whatever the result, I would say, Lockett, to let all these cuts and bruises heal up and just to let him refresh himself a bit. Tsarenko, steady all the way. There's a nice body shot from him, not too much from Lockett at all in this round so far.
Well, you just wonder what's going through the mind of Gary Lockett. Are the doubts starting to creep in? Doubts about stamina, doubts about his punching power. That's what happened when a puncher didn't get his shots on and he starts to doubt himself.
Lovely countering right though there. He's done that a couple of times. Make Tsarenko just give ground for a moment. I mean, he's a tough little man, this Tsarenko, but you wouldn't say that he was anything close to being a world-class operator, would you?
No, you certainly wouldn't. Been over here twice before and lost both times to Ryan Rhodes and Ozzy Duran, so you know he has his limitations.
Yeah, Ryan Rhodes didn't lose a round against him. He's obviously improved since then, I think it's fair to say. Good right hand, but it is proving particularly heavy weather this for Gary Lockett after all the rave reviews and hype surrounding him in recent times. I mean, some people have been saying that he might be better than the 4 names at the top of that British light middleweight list. That talk now looks a bit premature, doesn't it?
Well, it does. We've seen a few of the others have tough nights as well. Richard Williams, he had a hard night a little while ago.
With Hussein Osman, who this guy beating around.
That's right, so it does happen.
You haven't got an answer for you. It's a strong kid, Gal, but you've got to do it right by outboxing these cats, do you hear me? Hey, 2 downs, now let's win them big.
Well, what do you think that last round?
I thought it had to be around for Tsarenko. He's just doing the busier in the round.
Punches landed, it's close, isn't it, on that, and I think it must be close-ish on the scorecard.
Well, you would think so. But Tsarenko is busier, he's getting better shots on. Lockett has gone to sleep over the last couple of rounds. And Tsarenko looking strong, and that was a nice combination. Right hand to the head, left hook to the body.
Lockett was trying to wave him in. That's Glenn's card for you.
1 point ahead, Tsarenko, so Lockett all to do in these last 2 rounds.
First time you've had Tsarenko ahead in the fight.
It is, all the way through. This is the first time he's been ahead.
Round 11. I've got it to Lockett by 1. Scored a couple of rounds different, Glenn and I. But it may well depend on these final 2 rounds, this. Got a French judge here, Roddy Evans from Wales, and Roy Francis. Remember, it's the Intercontinental belt of Lockett's which is at stake here. That's his unbeaten record. He's trying to do it behind that jab. Keeps Tsarenko away, but he has to stay busy with that jab. And his footwork has to be good, and he has to be just changing the angle all the time.
Well, that jab of Lockett for me hasn't looked as good as it has in other fights. You'd think now when Tsarenko's close to Lockett, that would suit Lockett. He'd be able to get the leaders to get the big punches on.
See, I'm just worrying about this weight thing as well with Lockett. Is he now finding it really tough to make light middleweight? Is he really strong at this weight now? He's a growing lad, isn't he, too? You know, he was stripped naked on the scales, and he stripped naked at the first time of asking. He knew he was tight at the
Yeah, he knew it was touch and go. So that could be a problem. He might be just getting too big for this division.
Has just lacked a bit of his usual zip here. Against an opponent who is tough and competent, but essentially one-paced.
Well, he's keeping on the move quite well, Lockett using the jab. Well, they've been on against Tsarenko, getting to him.
All of these rounds are pretty close. I suppose Lockett, as being the home fighter, might kind of expect to just get the nod if it was a close fight.
Well, I think also, you know, he might be having some problems with his breathing. That nose has bled constantly. You often see him spitting a bit of blood, so I think that is causing some bother as well.
Just about doing enough with the jab in this round. Tsarenko's coming forward. He's not doing too much when he gets there at this stage.
Yeah, he's just done a bit more work. Lockett just busy with the jab. I think Tsarenko's starting to feel the pace himself.
Took a lot of heavy shots in the early stages of the fight. Lockett's trying to settle down over the second half to box his way to victory.
All right, that's beautiful. 1 round to go.
3 minutes left.
Hang back. Take the
I
sponge.
don't think anybody dreamt it was going to be
Put your head down.
this grueling a 12-rounder for
12
Gary
round
Lockett.
go.
Now, Gary, he'll have a go this round. Keep your composure. Keep your hands up.
Whack 'em with your
Left hand on the
straight.
target.
Whack 'em with your straight, gal. Bang, 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 straight. Bang, 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 straight. Just walking straight forward. Right, gal. Gotta make sure you don't get a pop on this eye now. It's a bit of swelling on it. Do you hear me?
I think he's kept it together quite well through a difficult night.
Let's make this round big.
Yeah, I think he has
Let's
kept
win this
together.
round. And we're gonna win.
He's just
big.
asking, is he winning? And they're saying it.
Come on, Gary Lockett.
So you've got to make sure of it this round. So I think he feels it's a bit tight as well. He knows it's been hard in there.
I've got it to Lockett by 2 going into the last 2 points. You've got it level, haven't you?
I've got level. I've got all on this last round.
Here we go. Final 3 minutes. You heard the instructions to Gary Lockett. I think there was a sense there that maybe he can really start to push it up a bit. And that left eye of Lockett now looks terrible. Really terrible.
Well, it's gone. It's the swelling has turned into a cut, and that's really bust open. So that bad for him in this last round.
He's just as well this is the last round for Lockett, because I don't think that eye would hold up any longer. Bad problems. And Tsarenko tees off on him with the right hand and a left and another one. Lockett wants to go to war with him. Maybe it's not a good idea. He needs to protect the eye while at the same time trying to win this last round in case it is close.
Well, the eye is very bad indeed. That's close right up.
John Coyle, a very experienced referee from Wolverhampton, taking a close look at that. Is it going to even last 3 minutes? Well, there's learning experiences and learning experiences, and this one I would suggest is not the kind of experiences that Lockett would have wanted. Look at him.
Well, if ever he needed the rocket, he needs it now.
Well, I'm afraid that the rocket hasn't got off the launch pad, has it? Not with this fella.
Well, it has, and the left eye almost closed shut as well. That's gone. So he's in a lot of trouble in this last round. A round for me, he needs to win.
Can hardly see. Both eyes absolutely shutting on Gary Lockett, who has, what, a minute left of this, and that's going to seem a long minute.
Well, those eyes are absolutely terrible. They have swollen right up both of them, and he's going to be struggling to see. There's blood from the nose. His face is a horrible mask.
And I reckon that if this was round 7, maybe John Coyle would step in now and say, you're not going to be able to get through this, son.
Well, I'm sure John Coyle is even now thinking how bad those eyes are.
So the referee has to have the boxer's safety at heart. I think Lockett can just about see, but only just about. Inside the last half minute. What's been a nightmarish experience really for Gary Lockett. Tsarenko's trying to pile in the punches. He'll have won this last round.
Well, he's won the last round, won the fight for me. Tsarenko. It's been a bad night for Gary Lockett. Never quite got it going, and Tsarenko, good shots at the end.
There's the bell, and Lockett sags back to his corner, and he's just about able to walk in a straight line. Look at that face. Oh my goodness me. And how much has that taken out of him for the future? He arrived as a bit of a golden boy tonight with a huge punch and a lot of publicity. He had to try and box his way there. I tell you what, he showed some bravery to get through those closing stages.
He did. She did show some character. You look at the state of that face, it's very bad. More shots landed for Lockett on the computer, 197 to 178.
Now, one of these punches we think might have opened up the cut right at the beginning of the round. Boom!
Yeah, there it is. You can see the swelling. You can see it bouncing. But it was very hard for Lockett. The swelling in that eye, you can see moving. But he did. He showed a lot of character to get through it.
I do not think he could have fought on for one more round. I think the fight would have had to have ended, wouldn't it, there?
Most definitely.
Anyway.
The referee would not have let him go on. I think if both eyes had went early in the round, even then it would have been a chance to stop it.
Who's won, do you think?
For me, I think Tsarenko. I think.
Do you?
Whether he gets it, I'm not sure. But I think he has won it by 1 point on mine. And at the end of it, you heard Denny Mancini, Colin Moorcroft say, look like you've won. Walk around, look like you've won.
I've got it to Lockett by 1, but a lot of the rounds were close. Robin Dolpierre of France, Roddy Evans Wales, Roy Francis England, they are the ones deciding whether Lockett keeps his unbeaten record. If he has, it will have been the tightest of tight squeezes, and he's going to be out of the ring for some time. He's going to be out of the gym for some time with injuries like that. What a contrast to those days of him blasting people out in 1 and 2 rounds.
But I think they were in the corner. Tsarenko, for me, just nicked it.
The man from Belarus. who was very hard and very durable, but Lockett was not boxing in world class there. Has he got it? We're about to find out. The judges have collected the cards. Here it comes now from Jimmy Lennon.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Roddy Evans scores about 115 to 113 in favor of Yuri Tsarenko. Judge at ringside, Robin Dopierre scores about 115 to 113 in favor of Gary Lockett. Judge at ringside, Roy Francis scores about 116 to 115 in favor of the winner and new champion Yuri
Tsarenko gets it.
Tsarenko
ends the march of Gary Lockett. The Rocket Man has been beaten. Split decision, and by 1 point on the deciding card of Roy Francis. That tallies with the way Glenn had it.
And ladies and gentlemen, happy to hand
The French judge had it by 2 points to Lockett, as you can see. The Welsh judge scored it for Tsarenko by a couple of points as well, and Roy Francis's card gives it to Tsarenko, and that is a very, very bad setback for Gary Lockett.
Welcome to the real world, Gary Lockett. Barry McGuigan, in a perverse way, is that the most valuable piece of education Lockett may ever receive?
No, you don't get educated in fights like that. You get beaten up and hurt, and you get miles on the clock and damage. There's a gamble. With a guy like Lockett, you've got to take a chance with guys that are better, considerably better and riskier. And with that, you hope to gain experience, and you hope not to get beaten up. And he got a terribly beaten up face today. You know, where do we start with the things that have gone wrong? He's got to work on his defence. He's got to learn how to change gear. He's got to learn how to move his upper body at the expense of maybe losing some power.
I think his attitude is wrong, Barry. I think he's starting to believe in his own power now. And I don't think he went out there with the attitude, I'm going to just win this fight.
Because that's a seductive thing. You know, you knock guys out and you want to knock people out, and you risk not
looking for single
variety punches.
He had no variety. He didn't know how to work out their way to stop that man. It was big left hooks, right hands, and if it didn't work, that was it.
And let's be honest, Paul, he wasn't that complicated, the Russian. He was a fairly basic, ordinary fighter, and he couldn't work him out.
Thank you.